all their enemies stood against them, all came to pass. Winter chill gave way to springtime thaw, and a new season was born. Perhaps you need a new season as well. You don't need to cross the Jordan River, but you need to get through the week. You aren't facing Jericho, but you are facing rejection or heartache. Canaanites don't stalk you, but disease, discouragement, danger, rampant. You wonder if you have what it takes to face tomorrow. You can relate to the deflated little fellow I saw in an airport terminal. He and his family were on summer vacation. At least that's what I Sherlocked from the way they were dressed. Flip-flops, baseball caps, and straw hats. They were beach-bound for a week of sand and sun. Everything about the dad's expression said, "Hurry up! We have to run if we're going to make the connection." The concourse was his football field, and the departure gate his end zone. He was determined to score a touchdown. Can the little fellow keep up? I wondered. Mom could. She matched her husband stride for stride. The big brothers could. They hitched their backpacks higher and leaned forward into the draft of their parents. But the little guy? He was 5 years old, 6 at most. His face was resolved, but his legs were so short. It didn't help matters that he was dragging a pint-sized Mickey Mouse carry-on bag, nor did it help that the entire civilized world was jammed into the airport. He tried to match his parents' pace, but he just couldn't. So he stopped. Right in the middle of the mayhem, he gave up. He plopped his bag on the floor, sat on top of it, and shouted in the direction of his disappearing family, "I can't keep up!" Can you relate? Sometimes the challenge is just too much. You want to keep up. You try. It's not that you don't. You just run out of fight. Life has a way of taking the life out of us. The book of Joshua is in the Bible for such seasons. It dares us to believe our best days are ahead of us. God has a promised land for us to take. The promised land was the third stop on the Hebrews' iconic itinerary. Their pilgrimage began in Egypt, continued through the wilderness, and concluded in Canaan. Each land represents a different condition of life. Geography is theology. In Egypt, the Hebrews were enslaved to Pharaoh. In the wilderness, they were free from Pharaoh, but still enslaved to fear. They refused to enter the promised land and languished in the desert. Only in Canaan did they discover victory. Egypt, the wilderness, and Canaan. Slaves to Pharaoh, slaves to fear, and finally, people of the promise. We too have traveled this itinerary. Egypt represents our days before salvation. We were in bondage to sin. We wore the leg irons of guilt and death. But then came our deliverer, Jesus Christ. By his grace and in his power, we crossed the Red Sea. He liberated us from the old life and offered a brand new life in Canaan. Our promised land isn't a physical territory. It is a spiritual reality. It's not real estate, but a real state of the heart and mind. A promised land life in which we are more than conquerors through Christ who loved us. Romans 8:37. A life in which we do not lose heart. 2 Corinthians 4:16. A life in which Christ's love has the first and last word in everything we do. 2 Corinthians 5:14. A life in which we are exceedingly joyful in all our tribulation. 2 Corinthians 7:4. A life in which we are anxious for nothing. Philippians 4:6. In which we are praying always. Ephesians 6:18. In which we do all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him. Colossians 3:17. Canaan is a life defined by grace, refined by challenge, and aligned with a heavenly call. In God's plan, in God's land, we win more often than we lose.